Hello, my name is Marvin Barish. You've probably heard me talk about the U.S.S. CYCLOPS, a U.S. Navy ship that never arrived at her destination in 1918. There's a lot of history associated with that ship. There's another piece of naval history that once made the newspapers, but it's been long forgotten. Today, I'd like to take you back to 1907. Back to the time when George W. Worley, the future captain of the U.S.S. CYCLOPS, was in command of the Collier ABARENDA. 'Tis strange but true, for truth is always strange, stranger than fiction. That quotation fits this true tale. Murder on the ABARENDA is the title of this book that I labeled the prequel to the CYCLOPS story. Actually, on the surface, it may sound like the title of a mystery novel, but it's not. It's actually a true story that affected one family. The ABARENDA was not a famous passenger ship or a glorious battleship. She was just a typical ocean-going vessel that was built in the United Kingdom for international trade. After several years of service, the ABARENDA was sold to the United States government in 1898. She was refitted by the U.S. Navy for coaling service during the Spanish-American War. Walter Weichert studied at the New York Nautical College. After his graduation, the 28-year-old was appointed to serve on the Collier Alexander in 1900 as her third officer. He then served as an officer on two other colliers before being assigned to the ABARENDA. The Collier Service was a branch of the U.S. Navy under the Bureau of Navigation. Colliers supplied coal and stores to the fleet. The organization of personnel aboard the colliers was similar to that of vessels in the merchant service. The master was the commanding officer on board such ships. On Sunday, December 1, 1907, Walter Robert Weichert reported on board the Collier ABARENDA as the first officer. The ship was anchored off the Norfolk and Western Railway coaling piers at Lambert's Point, Norfolk, Virginia. 4 days after Mr. Weichert's arrival, J. Gaudreau, boatswain, came aboard the ship. He was drunk and disorderly. He was insolent toward First Officer Weichert and was placed in irons and confined to the brig. 2 days later, Seaman Phobanatus was placed in double irons for using insolent language toward First Officer Weichert. On January 3, 1908, the ABARENDA arrived at Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, to provide coal for the U.S. battleship fleet. On January 15, 1908, as the ABARENDA coaled the battleship Minnesota, Seamen Gallagher and Marsden refused to obey lawful orders from First Officer Weichert and threatened to kill him. When they were taken before Master Worley, Gallagher used violent language, and he stated that no power on earth could make him turn to or perform his duties. He was definitely intoxicated. This was Seaman Gallagher's second such offense. Both Gallagher and Marsden were placed in the brig. On the next morning, Master Worley and First Officer Weichert visited the prisoners and found them in the same state of high insubordination. They said that they would incite everyone else if they were ever let free. Consequently, they were left in confinement. A short time later, Seamen Chanal and Brewster deliberately disobeyed orders by painting over dirt on the ship. I think that you have a sense of the unsettled situation that was brewing on the ABARENDA. It was not good, but it actually worsened. On February 18, 1908, Alexander Dixon, the ship's carpenter, was placed in confinement for deliberately destroying ship's property. He also used threatening language toward Mr. Weichert. Dixon was released from confinement the following day, but was kept under observation. On February 20th, 1908, First Officer Weichert and Alexander Dixon were involved in a quarrel. Weichert then ordered Dixon to join the rest of the crew that was painting the ship's hull. Dixon said that he was a carpenter and that going over the side of the ship to paint was not part of his duty. Disobeying the direct order, he went below to work at his carpenter's bench. Later that day, in the bows of the ABARENDA, he brutally took the life of the first officer. Dixon immediately gave himself up to the third officer, saying that he had killed the first officer, and handed over the implement of murder. I'll spare you the details at this time. While it seems that this book is all about murder and insubordination, it's really not. Most of the book involves what happened on land in a federal courtroom and in the home of the widow, Mrs. Viola Weichert. She had 3 young children, 2 girls and a boy to care for. She was informed that she was not eligible to receive any death benefits following her husband's murder. This really turns out to be a book about the widow's struggle for the survival of her family. Despite illness and more, she somehow managed to take on the federal bureaucracy. I've been to First Officer Weichert's grave in Puerto Rico and met with his granddaughter in New England. I've pored over the ship's logbooks, court records, and more. All of the facts have been thoroughly researched and carefully packed into this small, soft-cover book that I believe you will find to be a very good read. I should mention at this time that there were actually several other murders documented in this book. If that wasn't enough, one resulted in the first court-ordered hanging in the Alaska Territory. Also, the captain of the ABARENDA was a defendant in the federal court in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I really suggest that you find a copy of Murder on the ABARENDA and read all about what happened. There's so much more to this story. I also ask that you would please visit my website for more information about the book and how to order your copy. Murder on the ABARENDA is published by Heritage Books Incorporated. Thank you.